Okay, there we go. Ready to go. We're just gonna do some talking, and then we're gonna go recruit the Shale. So let's do some talking.
Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so?
About my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
What'd you say to them?
What can I say to them? What they believe is what the chantry says, and the chantry is infallible, yes? Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in Lotherin's chantry?
Someone like me.
You know, a beautiful, charming woman like yourself?
Beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lotherin cloister. All of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique. Because then, they were forbidden. And forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
They can't have been more lovely than you.
I, however, did not take vows, and so perhaps I am not as enigmatic. The chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
What did you do before that?
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
+6 to Liliana's likability.
Something you need? Yes?
Talk about something else. Why did you decide to come to Ferelden?
From Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it.
What happened to your mother?
Died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother.
Do you remember nothing of your mother?
The only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dry flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andraste's Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Yes? Something you need?
Just sitting here yapping with you. Let's see. I'd like to talk about something else.
What's on your mind?
Liliana's got a lot to say because she's a bard. Do you miss anything about Orlais?
Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val-Royaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val-Royaux.
We will be going to get Shale, but we gotta get through our party talking.
Triumphant choruses, and always floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent.
Sounds wonderful, but Denerim is just as magnificent.
Sure it is. But every city has a different personality. It is hard to describe. You have to be there. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais.
Here we go. We're going to talk about shoes. What sort of
Dresses,
things?
fine dresses and furs, and shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so.
Gotta have shoes.
The shoes. Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes.
What's so special about the shoes?
When
Oh, I
left
love
Orlais,
shoes.
the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring.
Ugh. So many talk about shoes. Well, it sounds
I had my
lovely.
eye on a pair my shoemaker was working on. It
When
was
in doubt,
covered in
fake it,
pale
people.
blue silk with amber beads on the toe. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them.
I know, right? So
They're
ugly
sturdy
and
shoes,
shapeless.
but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes
Pretty
all
feet.
day, but we have things to do, don't we?
We do. Please don't ever talk about shoes again.
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind?
I heard in Orlais, minstrels are often
Where did you hear
spies.
this?
Someone told me this a
You
long
believe
time ago.
everything you hear? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers. But some of them are what we call bards.
And barge spies?
Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are.
They spy on Ferelden?
Mostly, it is nobles spying on other nobles. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the Empress.
My least favorite part
They
of
cannot do
Inquisition is
this
actually
openly
playing the
because it
game.
is impolite.
The
And
game,
in
like in
public,
Orlais.
They wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players.
You seem to know quite a bit about these bards.
And I should, shouldn't I, after having spent most of my adult life as one? You've guessed as much, I'm sure. But does it really matter what I was? What's past is past.
Why were you living in
I
Cloister Sisters in rural
Found
Ferelden?
myself in Ferelden and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry. And when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to see the Maker brought me here.
Yeah. Way to avoid the subject, Liliana.
Yes?
We're not going to
Something
listen to any of her stories, because
There's an idea. I've watched you, and I do think you'd find some of my skills quite easy to pick up. Let's just go over there, away from the others, for safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time.
Alright, so we're done with Liliana's talking. Stan. We've already talked to Alistair, so we're going to talk to Doge. Gotta talk to Doge.
Why, you little... Your furry
What?
friend here took offence at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
It was a warning. You could have taken your hand off.
You know it. Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once
Doge,
heard
what are you
a
doing
really
now?
old legend about how the hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
I never feed
Not
you another human
cannibalism
being.
if he's eating it, you know.
Ugh, look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables. Dirty
That's the
hungle
thought that
can have
counts. He
this
means well.
back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You were the lady.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag. Oh,
I think you hurt his
he's just trying
feelings.
to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
I do it too. Doge.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Happy Doge. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? Alright, have fun then. Does he have any... We got to pet Doge. First we pet the Doge, then he brings us stuff. Doge, bring me things. I demand it. Okay. He's not going to bring me nothing, so we're done with Doge for now. So we're halfway done. Yeah, that's worthy of a save. Worthy of a save. A lot of camp stuff today. We got a lot of talking to do in this stream. Not the most action-oriented, but
Why
we
are we
need to
stopping?
talk. We're working together. I think
There
we
are
should get to know you.
darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I don't know if I can trust you. Are you alright? You're in the cage for
You are
weeks.
concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
I've never seen a canard before. Tell me about your people.
People
why
are
not?
not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Seems reasonable to me.
I
You said
am.
you were in the army. Have
I
you ever
have
fought in a war?
always fought in war, human.
What do you mean by
people
that?
have been at war since the moment we set foot in the Northern Islands.
So the Canary don't come from the
Do
islands?
now.
Where'd you
Somewhere
come on
else?
for?
No.
Can you be more specific?
I was born in Seheron. Of the land we came from, I know nothing, not even its name. I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate.
Dragonage 4 people.
What a
What's your hurry?
strange language you speak. You say hurry, where I would say duty.
It's not your duty to
No,
handle the
it
blight,
is
though.
yours, and you are chatting with me instead. As
We
you
should
wish.
get moving. He approved. +2.
Yes.
Stan. What were you doing in that
As
cage?
you observed.
Do you have to be so literal?
No, it's a choice, not a necessity. I did.
Tell me.
Parshera. Was there anything else? I am
questions.
hardly surprised. To
Why'd
answer
you come
a
to
question,
Ferelden?
the
What was the
Arishok
question?
asked what is the blight. By his curiosity, I am now here. Yes,
Do you have to report back then?
never.
When are you going to do that?
I cannot go home. It doesn't matter
Why not?
now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting. Speak,
I want to discuss something you mentioned.
then I suggest we move on.
Enough.
I am hardly
I have a
surprised.
question.
Very well. As you wish.
Let's go.
Yes,
Yeah, I think we're done.
I am hardly surprised. Very well.
Yep, we're done. So we're
As
done
you
with
wish.
him. You can talk to Morrigan.
What do you wish of me? If you must.
To ask you something.
I was
How'd
not
you
born
become a shapeshifter here?
such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Your mother's been doing this for a long time then?
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Do you spend a lot of time
There
as an
were
animal?
nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
Never heard of
No?
magic like that before.
It is not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
By practitioners you mean apostates,
Not
don't
all
you?
apostates use the forbidden blood arts. Maleficarum do, but to condemn all who do not fall under the circle's thrall for the sake of what might be is a dangerous path to walk. There are those who look on the word apostate as meaning freedom.
Can you change into
The
human
form of
forms
an
as well?
animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Indeed.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
I think your abilities
Oh.
sound quite useful.
You're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
She like that. +3 to Morrigan. Yes.
What do you wish of me? If you must.
I want to ask you something. Did you grow
Why
up
do
in
you
the
ask me
Kusari
such
Wilds?
questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You can probe me
Beg pardon,
anytime.
then, while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained
For the most
unnoticed?
part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Sounds very daring. Sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps.
She liked
Only
that. She
once was I
giggled.
accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That's
Men
quick thinking.
are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? To begin
Touching like
with,
a
yes.
handshake?
What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, I'm glad it worked
Yes.
out this way at least.
Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Seems pretty reasonable. +8, Morrigan approves. See, we're doing well with Morrigan.
Yes?
Yes.
If you
I want to
must.
ask you about something. Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
You are very cute to ask so many questions.
I'm glad you think so.
I am glad you are so glad. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
You really had no trouble with them? I
They
feel
came
sorry
with as
for the
much
Templars.
swagger and arrogance as they did self-righteousness. Pity them if you wish, for they held none for us. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Surely
Sometimes,
more would have followed.
eventually. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
Do you still think that was fun?
I think that my mother made it fun so that a child did not learn to fear. And I think that it was necessary. There are no trials for apostates, no prisons, no mercy. There are only absolutes, so only survival matters. If the wilds have taught me anything, 'tis this. First, you must survive. Do you disagree?
You're probably right.
An enlightened view, or at least an agreeable one. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand. Yes?
Again, nothing.
If you must.
I'd like to ask you something. Something's really what
Well,
she
that
seems to be.
depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
A nutty old bat.
Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
More
I can
interested in the
relay what
truth.
Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the
Sounds
tale is
interesting.
sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. The tale
I've heard that part.
that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the Dreadlord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. The
Flemeth
life of
must
a
have been
bard
angry.
is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
So she.
Spirits
Spirits
first,
or demons?
and 'twas they who slew Conabar. Flemeth did not turn to the demon until much later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Which she never invaded,
The
or
truth of the
he
matter
never
is that
defeated
there was
her.
never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
How is it she
The
survived
demon
for so
within
long?
her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
The legend tells of
You ask
Flemeth
if I
having
have
many
sisters?
daughters.
I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of
tell
them?
of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Aren't abominations
How
usually
often is
insane
this
horrors?
Usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her.
An interesting story. Thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
My mother died recently,
Then
in
you have
fact.
my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
And she has minor magic.
Yes? So,
To ask you something?
full of questions, are you?
Tell me, are you really
I
Flemeth's daughter?
assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. It is not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child.
She's not always as old as
As a
she is
matter
now,
of
was she?
fact, I remember her being younger once. She had black hair, much like my own, long and lustrous. But how could that be if she is centuries old? Has she become wizened only recently? Or are the tales of her legend only that, and nothing more? I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another. And Flemeth has always treated me as her blood. I would have nothing in common with them, nor any need for what they might provide. Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser. You suppose
that's true.
it's true? 'Tis true. Take yourself. You do not honestly desire such things from me, do you? 'Tis better to be free of such cloying and cluttering delusions as love. I do not
Well, limit
consider it
yourself.
a limitation. Not leaping into a burning building also happens to be an experience best avoided. I tire of this discussion. Let us move on, shall we? Yes?
I lost 2 points of stuff there. So Life of Wilds must
At
have been very
times,
lonely.
perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
Did they
Don't
speak
be
back?
foolish. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments, the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. It was encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
I can't imagine the
She
Flemeth
was
was
not.
pleased.
Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken. Beauty
Flemeth
and
was right, no
love
doubt.
are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been. Perhaps,
These are harsh lessons to
but they
teach
were
a child.
necessary still. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality. Yes? We are in camp,
gonna ask you
so
something
'tis
personal.
as good a time as any. What's this? 'Tis a rather odd discussion you seem to desire, leaning in so closely. Not
You
unless
object?
you stop. Yes? We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Alright. We have finished our Morrigan discussions. Finished. I finally was able to give this to someone. More importantly, it gave me a few more whatchamacallits. I have so many gifts. Let's see here. Dragon Age. Gifts. Okay. Gifts for Alistair. Clearly. This one right here.
I could get used to this, you know.
Yeah, you know, you'd like. I'm glad you like. Yes, sir. That just clears up some inventory. Gifts for Liliana. Typically, it's the Andraste stuff, Chantry stuff. So, we shall see. Nothing here. Morrigan. She likes the gold amulet. Interesting. Oh, wait. Liliana. She doesn't know what to say.
I am
Gold
grateful.
necklace.
'Tis thoughtful indeed.
It's a wind thing. Okay. Okay. She knows all about the runestones.
A fine gift. You have my thanks.
So, clearly. Zevron. He likes the bars. Okay. Gold earrings. Earrings. Shiny gold ring.
Oh,
Interesting.
Silver bracelet. Do do do. So that goes to Win, that goes to Ogren. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Morgan got the moderate magic. Very good.
'Tis cold in my tent, all alone.
Well, we
you
can't
shall
have
come to my
that.
tent? But whatever shall we do in that tiny little space together while we wait for it to warm? Good.
I'm sure we will
Just
think of
waste no
something.
more time with foolish talk.
Their clothes twitch, calm down. So we have a romance option now with Morrigan. We've made our decision.
I see the stories they tell of Grey Warden endurance are not exaggerated.
You're just saying that. Oh, there's stories.
Indeed there are. The unanswered question, of course, is whether the endurance exists because of the taint within you, or because the Grey Wardens are by nature so very healthy. I enjoy the thought that 'tis a little of both. Natural prowess, driven by a darker side. That is entirely
I
up to
know.
you. Simply know that I have no designs on your independence. I wish only to do what I desire, and if that coincides with what you desire, then so be it. And should you decide not to continue our misadventure, then so be it. Very simple, is it not?
And what about love? Does that
now
not
you
in the
ruin
picture?
the mood by speaking profanities. Silly man. Come then, let us be off before the others begin to stare. We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. Ah, such a romantic, I see.
I am just a flirt. What can I say? Now, unfortunately, we have to go talk to other people because we increased their
What do you
thing.
need? Ask away. Such as they are. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away. I already said I wouldn't. The answer is still no.
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind?
Yes. I am hardly surprised. Very well. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. As you wish.
Nothing. It's just nothing.
It's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fenwick, at your service once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
You're free to stay, just
Wonderful.
mind yourselves.
Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me. If there's anything I can do for you, please tell me. Thank
You
the
heard any
maker we
rumors?
didn't lose Tyrn Loghain at Ostagar. He pulled his troops out just in time, so it said. Without him, we'd be lost. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
What's your story exactly?
Suppose since you told me about you being a Grey Warden, it's only fitting for me to be as open. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose. So,
Go
as I
on.
said, things were going well. But good things must come to an end. One day, a noble woman came to my store. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
And did you steal them?
I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tides. They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure. Something worth a little gold. The noble
Let's
woman,
see.
she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back. I thank
lucky
the
you've done
stone
so well.
every single day. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
Where do these
Look,
goods
we-
come from? Not the deep
We
roads.
don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the Lost Tides, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming. People
do you
flee
mean?
from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
I suppose it's better than having the Darkspawn just take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
You didn't mention your son in your
yes.
tale.
I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here, I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again. It's not as if
Was it
I don't
generous of you?
benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. could probably open his own shop. If how?
Enchantment.
Well, you'll seem to enjoy
Enchantment.
it at least. I'm sure you'll be
Well, let me
pleased
see what
with
you
the
got.
goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Gotta love discounts. I have no use for that stuff, so we'll sell it. Lessening our stuff. Bard's dancing shoes. Nice. Gold strikers. Not bad. It's a tier 1 item though. That's good. Increases monetary gain. Well, that's one of the things I want, so. Very good. Let's see. Talent or spell? Talent or spell. Okay. So we need 11 more, 33 more for the full. No good. We'll take the backpack and get to 100 right now.
Hello.
The boy's a
That's
bit
Sandal.
simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was he now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed. He can fold
enchantments does he do?
into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment.
And there you have it.
Enchantment.
Want some enchanting done. Yeah. To do electricity and chance to reduce movement speed. You know what? Let's just go damage. Now we're talking. So after an hour of camp time, we've made it through the camp. It just goes to show there's a lot of stuff during, you know. Nothing wrong with enchantment. Okay. I say it's time we move on with life. Not yet. I need to equip that dwarven belt. There we go. See, now increases monetary gain, so that's good. So now we have 42 out of 100, so we have 58 inventory space that we can collect. And I can still get 2 rings on me. So that's good. We're gonna head toward Denerim.
Indeed.
Yes.
There we go, we get stopped. Stopped along the way.
You have coin, stranger? With Orzammar closed off, old Tegra can get you a discount. Fine weapon and arms, dwarven made. There's two
What's
things:
going on in Orzammar?
travel or trade. Understand?
That's this discount of yours. Fine dwarven crafts. Boo. I can't afford it. I can afford that though. So we make it to Denram. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, really.
So, this thing you and him have going, doesn't that violate your vows?
What? What kind of question is that to just blurt out? What do we have going?
Yeah.
Wait, where are you going?
Puppy!
You found a friend. Maker, where'd you get that? Becomes what? Well, this is gonna have to fight Darkspawn. I know he's too young, that's my point. Silly dog. Come on, Doge, you're better than that.
I bought a confection of brown sugar here. It got stuck in my head. Made it hard to come out.
Take the private
But it was
documents.
Dwarven crafts. Fine.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts.
Andraste's blood. You're a Grey Warden. Duncan's apprentice. You killed my friend. And good King Kalen. I demand satisfaction, sir. So you would compound
false.
slander on top of treason? You dare smear Terran Logain's word? I cannot
Wrong,
take
you'd be
that
killing an
chance.
innocent.
As much as I feel in my bones you are guilty. Leave, Warden. If I find proof, we will meet again.
Do you think this sells
Odd
self-evidence
Noble
in that
Tavern.
store? I've been meaning to spruce up my boots for the longest time.
Yeah, we're going in here. Very specific. Very specific. We're going to talk to the proprietor.
We carry
Welcome.
items crafted by the Circle, as well as a variety of antiquities. Is there any?
And find dwarven crafts.
See?
Yes, browse your wares. There's something very much I want to see. Actually, that's an amazing staff, which we're nowhere near having. But we will put that in the back of our minds, this amazing staff. And Twitch. There. Okay. Wrong button. We're going to put that there, and we're actually going to put you on Alistair. There. See, we gained nothing. Good job. And now when we read, we get 75 experience points. Ooh. So we have a Dwarven Merchant's Belt on one of my characters to give us money, and this to give me 75 experience points. We get so many more experience points. So many more experience points. All the experience points. Hooray! Now we can leave. Pick you up. Lesser injury kit. Nothing wrong with that. We're out of here. We don't want to stick around in Denram. Denram's not our place. Not even paying
Dwarven
attention.
crafts.
Dwarven crafts. Find Dwarven crafts.
Won't find better.
Oh, you daft.
Not happening.
You're the Grey Warden, aren't you? Exactly who I was hoping to meet. I represent a collective of mages interested in going about their lives without the constant scrutiny of the Chantry.
Apostates.
Next to me,
Not gonna help.
and in every major settlement, you will find an inconspicuous sack containing requests from mages all over the land who need the assistance of someone skillful and discreet. Thank
I'll
you,
take
my
a look.
friend. We have agents in every major settlement to reward you for work done on behalf of the collective. Make us smile upon you.
It just helps to get rid of my whatchamacallits. Well, they tend to be careful and judicious of their own force. Templars do indeed make mistakes. I understand that several relatives of our friends are among the collective will soon become targets of the Chantry, and while I trust will not lead to lasting harm for those innocent, I wish to ensure that the targeted are fairly warned and evacuated before the Chantry sends its message. I ask a noble soul to take the bundle of vials attached to this missive and find the 4 homes the Chantry is likely to target in Denerim. Mark the 4 doors in each home with goat's blood and vials. Those relatives will understand the message and evacuate before the Chantry can threaten them. Okay. The collective is saddened at the absence of Great Mage Reynold. He's our friend. Our friend has not been seen in quite some time, and our gatherings are the lesser for the loss of his tales of ribald exploits and the aroma of his delicious twice-baked meat pies. Reynold was last seen traveling in the direction of Brazilian forest. However, oh, how he did love those outdoors. Anyone who returns with the evidence of the whereabouts of beloved Mage Reynold will be rewarded. Okay. Scrolls. In times such as these, one must suspect even his neighbors of the darkest dealings, lest they cast a shadow upon those who labor under the light. I, Jubatsto, have heard the cabal of Maleficum performing rituals in the dark near my sanctum, and I certainly wish to see them brought to justice for their dark deeds. I hesitate, however, to accuse them of foul sorcery with a full understanding of the trappings, ritual, and appearance of the dark magic requires. The writings of the hated Maleficarum Bannister should be suitable. Should a courier be available to procure me copies of the Scrolls of Bannister, I would be appropriately grateful. Alright.
As there is but one world, one life, one death.
Back alley justice. Missing in action. Frazzle's request. Logan's push. Desperate haven. Skin deep.
Our maker. They are sinners who have given their love to false gods.
Might as well do this blood mage thing. Since I am here in Denham, we can get a Dwarven Craft. Fine Dwarven Craft. I can get these situated at least. These are side quests, so let's make sure we save. We did get the thing we wanted after all. Current objectives. So 4 doors, okay. I've marked 2 doors. Yes. Dose doors. Mister, I've only seen 2 doors. I don't know what to tell you. The others must be in places I'm unwilling to go to right now. Like the aliens, like the, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna be out and about. That's fine. We're not willing to go there, so that's fine.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts.
I mean, they're fine dwarven crafts. They're not just crafts. They're fine dwarven crafts.
Dwarven crafts. Fine.
Yes, I gotcha. Yeah. They won't let me go. Why won't you let me leave?
Dwarven crafts. Fine.
We keep passing the fine dwarven crafts, and they're gonna make me want to buy things. That's a warehouse we don't want to go into because stuff happens and blah blah blah. But we want to save Denham for last. Same with Javenti.
By order of the new Earl of Denham, no one is to enter the alienage.
Arl wants to keep people up, does he?
No fears even have the gall to attack the Earl's only son. Killed him in cold blood. With the whole Urian family dead, the regent appointed Rendon Howe of Amaranthine the new Earl of Denham. First thing he did was lead a purge of the alienage. It's a mess in there. When things are put back in order, the gates will be reopened. Now on your way.
But fine dwarven crafts. Grey Warden poster, huh? Don't believe the lies. Friends of the Grey Wardens assembled, blah blah blah.
It's the Maker's punishment, it is.
Quests. Okay, so using the alienage.
You here to report another crime? I swear we should just cordon off the entire district. Oh, can I help you, Warden? What?
Do you need help?
I mean, yes, I could use help. I've got a pretty popular establishment that's crawling with mercenaries. If I send my boys in, someone might get Maker forbid, hurt, and I'll have to explain to their noble fathers that being a god is actually dangerous. The name of
What
the
do you need me
whorehouse
to
is
do?
the Pearl. Beat down any mercenaries that are out of line and send them a message. I said beat down, not kill. Let me make that really clear. Not on fire, or exploded, or make a nose, whatever type of grisly death you can dream up. Sorry. Used to giving orders to my boys. Just leave them breathing and I'll be happy. Thank you, Warden.
Okay.
Happy hunting.
I'm a fan. However, we're not going to do those quests now because no. Instead, we're going to go pick up Shale because yes.
All men, from the lowest slaves to the highest kings, those who bring ham without provocation are ready
For Eldon. Let's head to Soldier's Pass. First, we're gonna get attacked on the road. Because that's what happens in Dragonage Origins. Ooh, an abomination. That's not great. We got annihilated. There's Renaald's journal. He summoned an abomination, which is a stupid idea. Stupid idea, sir. Yes, sir. Heading towards Soldier's Pass. Heading towards Soldier's Pass. Death Root. Elf Root. Elf Root.
You'll have to forgive me if I seem a bit nervous. Not many people travelling in this part of Ferelden. Of course, that's part of my problem, isn't it? You all got spooked by a wisp and ran off into the woods. Now what do I do?
You're asking me to find a rule?
I sent the elf to do that. I wouldn't dream of asking a stranger to do it. Allow me to introduce myself. Felix de Grosbois, merchant and entrepreneur at your service. I don't normally
pleased to meet you.
take this route, but with the war, I was hoping for a bit of luck and good weather in the mountains. Sadly, I've had neither. Ugh, this trip has been one miserable disaster after another. I don't suppose you'd consider helping a fellow out? Of all the
what do
other
you need?
things that went wrong, the worst is this artifact I brought in Jada. It's a control rod, I'm told, for a golem. I can't even get to it now, but perhaps you could. Maybe you'd, take it off my hands? The dwarf
What's
I
control
brought it
rod
from
do?
said it activates and controls a golem. So long as you have it in your hand, the golem does what you say. Might be useful, no? I mean, you look like the sort who could use one, yes? The catch?
What's the catch?
Yeah, I suppose it is a catch, isn't it? The catch is that the golem didn't come with the rod. It's supposed to be down in a village down south, waiting to be activated. Even if I could get down there, which I can't, I understand the place has been overrun by darkspawn. That's not such an issue for adventurous types like yourself, surely? Or I'm hoping that's so, at least. The fellow I brought it from is a long-standing contact. He didn't want to come to Ferelden, however, with all our troubles. He said he got it from the man who owned this golem. But to be honest, I have no idea if it will work.
Looks like I haven't downloaded the content
to
yet.
sell it to you for cheap. Much less than I got it for. That's something, isn't it? Truly. We can work out something reasonable, I'm certain. changed your mind about the control rod, I hope. I'll make you an excellent deal. Truly. Ooh.
So I can't do it. I don't have the downloadable content. So we'll go do the other side quest first real quick. Because I don't have the DLCs apparently downloaded yet, which is kind of annoying. So we'll go take care of these two things and get them off the map. And I'll go download that stuff, and we'll have things finished, we'll just say. Yeah, I can't do anything with you. See how many actual civilians we can save here. I'm guessing not many. I had to use the potion. Good. We took out the emissary. Looks like everybody died. Except for them. Hooray, not everybody died.
Oh, thank you, Maker. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, Maker. Oh, thank you, Maker. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh. Okay. So next time we'll have to be shale. This time is just, you know, it is what it is. So we took care of refugees, now we'll go to civil war. Really glad you decided to take the long way. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, that's right. What did I tell you?
Couldn't do it. She can, though. Okay, well she's able to at least, so that's good.
Yes, of course.
Okay, well that sucked. Seven, 6. Okay. This'll pop me up at least one.
Get your horses off Ben Talman's land. We won't Ben Needle again.
Loghain is the regent. He demands your...
We're not Orlesian lickspittles. We owe no man our allegiance. Leave!
Take their lands by force, men. Regent's orders.
So you think? There you go, Alistair. Well done.
We showed those Loghain upstarts.
We sure did. Let's see. Level you up. 18. 1920. Okay, so that's almost a level 7, or level 8, I'm sorry. We'll be moving that up to 22 and being done with it. And then anything else is just a bonus on cunning. Whereas dexterity obviously is our big thing. But unfortunately, because I didn't download the content, this is where the this stream will end. So I apologize for that, because I don't want to continue without getting shale. So I will call the stream here. We got an hour and 20 minutes in. Mostly it was, unfortunately, you know, camp. So this was mostly a camp episode. We did get, you know, several items and a few of the quests done, which is nice. So this is where I'll leave it. I will talk to you guys later. So long, everybody.